G'day guys, another video time, and this one I have tried to make 3 times in total. First one I didn't like, made it when we were down in Augusta, and I didn't like the results, so I reshot it. And shortly after that, before I got a chance to edit it up, I lost all the information on my backup drive and my backup of the backup. Both unfortunately Seagate portable drives. Not really impressed with those things. Now, to give some credit to Seagate, they've taken the drive off to the Netherlands and they're having a go at recovering all the footage I had on there, but they have told me it's on the way back, but they haven't said whether they've recovered anything, so I'm still waiting to find out what's going to happen with that. But unfortunately that was the totality of all the footage that I'd shot in towns and campsites and all across WA for years and years. So it's not a total loss because I've got the edited stuff still, but unfortunately this is all the raw footage. But anyway, whatever happens with that happens now. I'm more or less resigned to losing the lot, so if I get something back it'll be a bonus. Now back to the subject of this video. What I shot before and what I lost was just a look back at some of the stuff we've shown you in previous videos, plus some new gear. So I'm just going to start to go through these things now, and we'll start with, I think, a little compressor, a little handheld compressor that we got fairly recently from Aldi. Yep, yeah, Aldi again, I know, but we like their gear, and we keep buying it because we like it. Okay, so item number 1, it's a little handheld compressor. It comes as a bare unit, i.e. it doesn't come with a battery. You've got to buy the batteries on these things separately. That's a 2 amp hour, is it? Oh, 4 amp hour. That's a 4 amp hour, so they're a little bit more expensive than the standard ones. The standard ones I think are 2. And when you buy that, it was, how much was it, $30? I think it was $30 anyway. I'll check it and stick it up on screen if I'm wrong. Little button there on the front of the battery tells you how much charge you've got left, so you've got a good idea of how your battery's going and when you need to recharge it. Looks a bit like a handheld screwdriver or something like that, handheld drill, but of course it is a little compressor. It is supposed to do up to 120 psi. Whether it would do that, I suppose 70 psi would be about the highest we'd ever pump any of our tyres up, and that's in the coaster. A little flexible hose on here. Those are usually the first things to go if anything is going to go wrong on a compressor, if the compressor doesn't die. But it seems reasonable. There's probably some rubberized stuff in there. That just clips onto the front. You have a little light here which comes on when you operate it. That would help you see stuff in the dark and get into dark corners, especially if you're doing dual wheels on the back of the coaster, something like that. Straightforward on button. It will read the pressure in the tyres when it's attached to the tyre, and you can set a pressure. So for example, you can see on there that's set to 60 psi. If you want to bring that down to a more reasonable level, to an ordinary car tyre, get down to say 34, it saves that information off, and all you do, attach this end to your valve, lock it on, press the trigger, and it will pump air into your tyre until it reaches the desired pressure. The thing I like about this is there's no wires to muck around with. You're not dragging something out of a big box, you're not trying to attach stuff to your car batteries. It's just a nice little handheld unit. As you can see, the little light there, it's fairly bright. Just pop that on again. You can see the little light there is fairly bright. That would help you see quite well if you're trying to get into a dark corner where one of your valves is, late at night or whatever. And the thing I like most about it is it enables you to check your tyres easily and quickly. Most people don't check their tyres anywhere near often enough, but having one of these just sitting in your vehicle, pull it out, take your dust caps off, lock it on, turn it on, pull the trigger, and you check your tyres in just a few minutes. Very simple, very quick, very effective, and it works. Now, I originally bought one of these for the little Hyundai that we use as a daily driving car, but because I was so impressed with it, I bought a second one, and this now lives in the coaster. Even though we've got a proper ARB compressor in the trailer, as I say, with that, it's a bit of a pain. You drag it out, you drag all the wires out, great long cables, great long hoses, and it's just a nuisance, really. I mean, it does the job, but my goodness, this makes life so much easier. So we'll let you know in future videos how well this is done. I'm impressed with it so far, and if you see one of these down at Aldi for 30 bucks plus the price of a battery, which is I think about another $30 or $40, I don't know that you could go past something like this. They're brilliant. Now, that actually caused this little thing to be redundant. I think we probably did put this on a video at some stage. I got this specifically because we've got the coaster, which has got dual back wheels, and it's hard to read pressures on the outer wheel. This one's got a dual end on it, so you can read from this side or read from that side. And of course, when your valve is sticking out like that inside the tyre, you can reach in, pop that on the end, and it will read your pressure. Makes it a lot easier for dual wheels, but this is now sort of redundant, I guess, because the little Aldi pump will do that just as easily. But in any case, the times I did use this, it was pretty good, did the job. I could, I guess, use it as a way of releasing pressure from tyres, but it's probably just going to sit in the cupboard now, gathering dust, I guess. Okay, well, way back we did a look at the old backlight, which failed, and then we did a little look at this one, which is called a hawk light, which was the successor to the backlight. This is a very useful little light, and we use it all the time. Little torch option there, so if you don't open it up, you can use it just as a handheld torch. If you do open it up, you've got 2 lights or 4 lights, an emergency red light, and a neat little package. It's rechargeable. You have a micro USB recharging port on there, hook on the bottom so you can hang it up, and you also have a connection there for a tripod if you want to put it up on a light stand. Very handy for us people who do filming. The other thing that's very useful about it is it has magnets on the back, so if you want to get this out and slap it onto the side of something, metal, trailer, the side of the coaster, whatever, slap the magnets on and it stays there pretty well. The magnets are quite strong. I haven't had a problem with it falling off. So very useful little light, and we've used this quite a lot now. Haven't had any problems with this one. Unfortunately the backlight failed for whatever reason, but Bunnings, who we got it from, replaced it with this, and been very happy with this little light. Very bright light, and if you want to use it as a bit of a downlight instead of having the light shining in your eyes, but you still want to use the magnets, you twist it round so that this one and this one sit flat against the surface you want to use, and then this one here acts as your downlight, so you can use it in a way that's not quite so intrusive as having the light shining in your face from the side of the vehicle. But would I recommend it? Yes, I definitely recommend this. It's called a hawk light. We got it from Bunnings. I don't know if anybody else sells it. Very useful, and it's lasted quite well. It's quite a few years old now. Staying with the subject of lights, we were sent the little Fenix torches a long time ago now to review. We've used them and used them and used them. We've had them out camping. As I said on another review, I think the on-off switch could be a little more tactile. Easy to use, of course, when you can see, but at night when you're sort of fumbling for it, sometimes it's just a little bit difficult to pick that up. We've got some flat batteries in here at the moment, they need replacing, but the torch is perfectly alright. It's been dropped onto some pretty hard surfaces. It's never failed. So, little Fenix torch, good bright light, and something you can easily slip in your pocket, hand Also has a little hand strap there. So yes, another product that we would recommend, although I've got to say Fenix torches are not cheap. Okay, I think this one's around the $85 mark for a fairly small torch. Now moving to a bigger torch, we got this from Aldi. You can see the difference in size there between the Fenix and the Aldi. And the Aldi was just 30 bucks. It's beautiful, very nicely machined, gorgeously made torch. There's a collar on here. You wind down to expose your charging port. Charging port there, which is a micro USB. It will also act as a power bank, which is pretty handy. The more battery powered things that act as power bank, the happier we are these days. So beautiful, it just feels nice when you use it. In fact, we bought two of these. We bought an earlier model that was a little bit more chunky looking. This one's a little slimmer. Unlike the Fenix, the light switch here is more tactile. There's no kind of ridges around the edge, and when you get to the switch it's on little flat spots, so with your eyes closed that is very easy to find. So at night you're not going to have any problems finding where the on-off switch is. Good bright light. I've shown you on previous videos the kind of range this has a number of different levels, and of course the obligatory SOS that most of these devices have these days. And with this one it also has the ability to act as a wide or a narrow beam. Let's just see if we can show you that on the back of the coaster. So you can see there, that's the narrow beam, and as I slide the cover it becomes a wide beam. Pretty impressed with that, something that we really enjoy using, and as I say, that's beautifully machined. It feels really nice, like a real quality torch. Now I doubt the big torches that people pay hundreds of dollars for are going to be any better than this. Really? Why would you pay several $100s for a torch, you know, 100, 200, whatever they charge for them, when you can get something like this for 30 bucks? I mean, what a bargain. It's an absolute beauty of a torch, and I can't recommend these highly enough. And we've got nothing to do with Aldi. They don't pay us a cent for saying these things. If it was junk I would definitely tell you about it. But as I say, we bought one and then we bought this one, and they're both excellent, beautifully made, and not a complaint at all about them. Good light and useful functions. So, oh yes, and it does come with a big orange cone that sits on the top, so if you want to use the emergency SOS signal you can also do it with the cone on top, and of course that's giving out an orange light. Now, staying on the subject of lights still, we get to this one, and guess where we got this? Yep. Another Aldi product. Sorry guys, I know you get sick of me saying Aldi, but we buy a lot of their gear, so you know, what can I do? Standard little headlight, $4. Very bright. Very, very happy with that. It's way, way better than the old ones we used to have. And of course again we have the SOS. So two levels of brightness, very bright when you put it on, then down a bit, and then the SOS. It takes AAA batteries, so if you've got rechargeable batteries you can use AAA rechargeables, where we just stick in ordinary old Vartas or whatever. Not much more I can say about that. We've had it out fishing, it's got covered in salt water, and it's a bit adjustable there. You can see when it's on your head you can tilt it down. Fairly easy to find switch on top there, little tactile switch. Not much else to say about it. It was cheap, it works, does everything we want, and it hasn't broken down, so fine, don't have any problems with that at all. Another item here that we want to have a look at, a little handheld baby UHF. We've had these for way over 10 years I'd say now. Still working fine. We use them when we're reversing and things like that. They're not so much for contact between vehicles. We don't do a lot of travelling with other people. We tend to be a little bit independent when it comes to travel. but sometimes when you're reversing you want to talk to somebody at the back and know what's going on, so very handy to have a couple of those. We've actually got a UHF in the 4x4, but we don't have one in the coaster, so these live in the coaster. It's only a 0.5 watt or something tiny like that. They were only about $60 I think when we bought them. They take 3 AAA batteries. They're not going to broadcast all that far, but we just use them for, as I say, reversing and manoeuvring vehicles, or if somebody happens to walk off into the bush a little way from the vehicle and wants something, or for any reason wants to contact the person who's in the vehicle, we've got the ability to do it. The brand name's Oricom. Now these are so old I doubt you can even buy these days, but I guess you'd go by the brand name. I've had no problems at all with them. They both work perfectly, and as I say, well over 10 years old, so you really couldn't get much better than that for 60 bucks, I guess. Okay, now next item we get to our little flex tail gear max pump 2. Another item that sits around and doesn't do a lot of work, but when we want it, it's quite useful. Okay, so here we have the little max pump 2. This is another item we were sent to test, and been, yeah, pretty useful. It's handy for blowing air into the base of a fire actually, but it's really meant for pumping up air mattresses and things like that, which we have used it for. It's very quick, way better than the little 20-buck pumps that you get in the camping stores. It's got a little touch switch on here. As you can see, I touch it once and the red light inside comes on, so it's prepared to go, and if I want it to start pumping air through, I just hold my finger on there. Tap it 3 times and it stops. This will also act as a bit of a power bank. The battery in it isn't huge, but again useful if you want to recharge your phone in an emergency. The standard USB is your power bank connection, and the micro USB is for charging. Not much else I can say about it. We've got a few different adapters that fit on here. These all come on and off. That's about the that's the main configuration we use it in. And yeah, just handy to have sitting in your glove box, to have the ability to use a pump for just small things. It's not going to be used for pumping up tyres, of course, but for airbeds and, I don't know, floaties, whatever people may have that need pumping up, that you don't want to sit there for hours blowing it up breath by breath. And we've had that a long time. I think I've recharged it twice so far, and it keeps the charge very well, and almost every time I've used it, it's been there waiting with a good charge in it, and we just charge it up, you know, once every 3 months or so, I suppose, probably not even that much. But the battery's still working, and we've had it, I can't even tell you how long we've had it now, but probably a couple of years, 2-3 years. Time flies so quickly you lose track a bit, but it's been good, happy with it. I know there's some comments online about these not being too crash hot, but I can only comment on the one they sent us, so we weren't paid a cent. They sent it to us and said, would you have a look at it, and if it's any good, give us a review, and I did that at the time, and I'm still happy with it years later. So yes, I would recommend it based on my experience. But as with all things, I highly recommend you read product reviews online before you buy anything, just to satisfy yourself that you're going to be happy with it. Now, if you've been watching our videos for a while, you will probably know that we've had a travel buddy for a while, and we've used that in the 4x4. And what happened was the indicator light on there stopped working, so I contacted Travel Buddy, and they sent us this little fella here, free of charge. It's just a replacement light. I'm not sure what's gone wrong with the light that's in it. I haven't actually done the repair yet, as you can see, but they sent us a little repair kit here, and I will probably make a little video when I do the repair on that and show you how to do it. Not much in there but rivets, a couple of connectors, and a couple of crimp-on and a couple of push-on ends, and the light itself. So We'll have a look at that one a little bit more when we do the repair. And sitting up there in the coaster is our second travel buddy. We could have just switched the travel buddy between the 4x4 on the coaster, but I'm one of those people who really doesn't like moving things around too much. If I got two vehicles, I want to have two of everything. I don't want to have to remember everything every time I go camping. So we decided, well, it's a great little product. We love the travel buddy. We use it a lot when we go out. Brilliant for day trips as well as camping. If you're going out and you want a pie for lunch and you want to have it crispy and hot, get yourself one of these. Sausage rolls, you can do roasts in them, you can bake bread in them. We've done a video on putting it through its paces, and you'll find that on our channel if you want to have a look. Good Aussie product, and we are very, very happy to recommend the Travel Buddy to people. Of course, there is a Chinese knockoff of this. It has some features that are attractive, but if you can, buy Aussie made. China's not our friend. Support local industry where you can. I know that sometimes means spending a few extra dollars, but in the case of this, there's almost nothing in the difference between the knockoff and the Travel Buddy. So why not get the local product? It's brilliant. Everybody we've met who has one of these loves it. Everybody we've seen online who has one loves it. So it's just something that every camper should have, I think. It's so useful. It will cook meals, although it's a little slow. It takes you about twice the amount of time it does at home in the normal big oven. But just to have that convenience when you're out camping is brilliant. Yeah, another item we picked up relatively recently. Haven't made much use of it yet, but just handy to have around. Little folding shovel. Now I'm not going to tell you where we got this because you can guess, I'm sure. Not one of the hugely expensive ones. Pretty straightforward. I know you've all seen these little folding shovels around the place. I can't remember the price of this one. Probably around the $20 mark. It seems reasonably strong. We haven't had a lot of use out of it yet, but just folds out. You wind the handle until it tightens everything up, and then it's a pretty good solid little shovel. It's got some sort of a serrated edge there. You can make up your own mind whether you think that's of use for anything. I can't work out what it would be for. It's not sharp enough to be a saw. I'm really not sure what that's for either. The little indent in the end of the shovel. Maybe somebody can enlighten me as to what that might be used for. But just as something handy to chuck under the seat and take with you in case you forget your big shovel when you go off four-wheel driving. Okay, you just wind the collar down and she folds up. Comes with a little bag, put it in. So that's just handy to chuck under the seat, under the driver's seat or the passenger seat, and you know it's always sitting there when you need it. I assume that's some kind of belt strap, but I don't think I'm really going to carry one of those around on my belt anytime soon. As long as it doesn't break and it does the job, well, that's good enough. Welcome to part 2 of our look back at some products we've had a look at in the past and just doing a bit of an update on them, and a look at a few new bits and pieces that we've picked up. Now on the table in front of me the things we're going to have a look at this morning, and the first one I want to mention is probably one of the most useful, and it's this little fella here. The old SUV doorstep. Now we did a video on its own about this one because we found it very, very useful. What happens with this? That hooks in to your door catch, and this becomes a step. So you can hop up much more easily if you've got a roof rack on your car. A lot of people have commented and said it might damage the door catch, but those things are built to deal with quite a large force, and just standing on it is not really going to cause you any problems at all. Now, anybody who watches the channel knows that I'm no lightweight, and I've been up and down on this step dozens of times, no problems at all with deforming the side wall where the catch is, and no problems with this braking. It's certainly strong enough. Very, very useful, and we would highly recommend this for anybody who wants to get up on top of a roof rack and do it safely and do it easily. Number 2, just a quick mention, this little gizmo here. We've had this for a while. I don't make a whole lot of use of it, it just sits in the glove box, but it's very handy for when you do want to use it. An Aldi product. The previous one wasn't an Aldi product, of course, it's from overseas. But this one, this is reminiscent of things like the Leatherman, and you'd think for $15, which is all that cost, it would either rust or wouldn't last long, but this is as good as the day we bought it. It's been used a fair bit. As you can see, a number of different gadgets on there. I won't open them up now. We did have a look at this one in the past. This is just an update, just to say that it has been an excellent little gizmo, quite a useful gadget, and when you want something in a hurry, if that's sitting in your glove box, you'll find that quite handy. So if Aldi have those on special again, I can certainly recommend it. It's long lasting, and it does the job it's meant to do. It actually does feel very nice as well. It feels well manufactured. And I should mention that it does come with its own little belt pouch. One thing we haven't had a look before, we had a look at a different one of these. We've got 2. This is a cheaper version. I think this was around about $24 or something. I can't quite remember what it was now, but it wasn't one of the more expensive ones. This is a pressure reducer for your valves when you're letting your tyres down to go forward driving on soft sand and things like that. This one, I can't even remember why I got it, because we've already got one, but it must have been particularly cheap. This one's from Anaconda. You can see the Dune name on there, which is their brand name for camping and caravanning gear. Not a lot to say about it other than it was cheap, and it works and it's useful. It does come in its own nice little case, which I guess that's a nicer case than the more expensive one, which is only coming in a soft pouch. That's just worth a quick mention if anyone's looking for a way of dropping your tyre pressures and checking what your tyre pressures are at the same time, so they can be pretty useful. The fact that we've now got 2 means we can do 2 tyres at once. Another product that we've had a look at before, this was a eBay special. These are the LED lights that we use to put up around the 4x4 when we need a bit of extra lighting. We've got one of these permanently mounted in the back of the 4x4. That's very handy, and these are very handy when we want lights on both sides. And what we do with these, they've got clips on them, we just pop them up on the roof rack down each side, and we can have almost all-round lighting for the 4x4. Not had a problem with these yet. They've got these little touch switches. They can be, I guess, a little bit temperamental at times. Sometimes you'll touch them and they won't come on, and you just have to do it a couple of times before they start to operate. But in general, yeah, not a bad product. We haven't had any problems with the lights not working, despite the fact the one in the back of the car is being used all the time. These ones don't get used as much. But yeah, not a bad little product to have. It just fits in its pouch neatly. It comes with an adapter if you haven't got a cigarette lighter available. They do come with an adapter, so you can hook it directly onto a battery. So it's a particularly useful thing to have. Now, a lot of the little tool sets we carry in the car are just for emergencies. This is one of them. I think I picked this up at Super Cheap. Wasn't all that expensive. Just comes with a few different screwdriver heads and other attachments. Got a little shifting spanner there, ratchet screwdriver and a ratchet spanner. Not a great assortment of sizes, but just a basic little toolkit when you need something in a hurry. We just throw that one in the back of the car in one of the drawers, and just available if you need something quickly. related to that is this little set we picked up from Aldi. I think they were about $9, $10, something like that. That's got a larger assortment of driver heads, and also has some different adapters here so you can use tech screws and whatnot. And a lot of the Aldi products, they come in these nice little cases. There's a good solid little case, and we could just chuck that under one of the front seats. Fenix, of course, the Aldi brand for their tools. And another recent addition, we haven't had a look at this one before, small set of ratchet spanners. I think that was $20, also Aldi. And the idea with these, of course, having a ratchet on them, you don't have to take the spanner off the nut when you're working on it. A little carry, where's the handle on that? Just a little carrier there for the spanners. You can take them off that, of course, and just chuck them in a tool bag. Well, that's just another thing we throw under the front seat, and it's available easily when we need something in a hurry. And yet another Aldi product. This comes in a set, but this is the one we use mostly. A little trailer lock. Now these things can be bypassed or broken, I guess, if someone tries hard enough, but useful to have a set of little locks like this. It has a number of different locks that comes with it in the set. I think there's probably 3 different locks for different types of trailers, but this is the one we use most often if we don't want a trailer to be towed away easily. If we leave it at a campsite, you put the key in here, the bar slips out, you pop that into the receptacle and lock it back over the top. So fairly simple, and we use that a fair bit if we have to go away and leave a trailer sitting in the campsite. A lot of the places we stay are out in the boonies, so you don't want somebody just coming along and driving off with your trailer. So that's just a little deterrent. And as I say, it comes in a set of 3 different locks, and we've used the other locks for different styles of hitches. One, I think, is just a barrel lock, which slides through the Treg style hitch. But yeah, when Aldi have these things on special, always worth having a look to see what they've got, and they have quite a few useful little bits and pieces. Well, that's about it. That wraps up our look at some of the gear we've had on reviews before, and just a bit of a catch up with some of it, and a few new things that we haven't had a look at before. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and if you like the channel, subscribe, and you'll be notified of the new videos every Saturday morning. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Cheers.